Hey everybody, welcome back. It's your pal Trandell. We're playing some more Remnant 2. So, I've had some really cool people come into my YouTube channel lately with some questions, and not only that, but I've seen a lot of these questions popping up in various sources. Remnant 2 is an absolute masterpiece in my opinion. It's an amazing game, and thankfully people are picking it up all the time. Word is slowly getting out, and there's a lot to it. So, kind of like we've talked about before in previous videos, there are a lot of game mechanics in Remnant 2. There's a lot of interactions, and especially for those new players that never played Remnant 1, it can be a lot to take in all at once. So, I wanted to get a quick video out talking about a couple things, specifically debuffs. Debuffs and consumable items, because those can have a huge impact on your, experience, and, can turn a oh shit, that was a horrible life decision moment into, okay, that wasn't so bad. So, let's go ahead, let's start with the debuffs, and let's go ahead, let's pop up the wiki. Now, a quick little FYI about the wiki. Unfortunately, it has not been updated in a while. Most of the information is correct, but there are some things that you will find are either outdated or just no longer correct. Status effects, those are all legit though, and this way we can kind of go through them, and you can also see what we're talking about. So, these are the status effects you're going to come across the most in the game. Now, there's some weird little niche ones here and there. I don't really want to talk about those because those are literally just like boss fight mechanics and stuff like that. I want to talk about the ones that you're going to see all the time. So, they're basically broken up in what I call two categories. Temporary debuffs and status effects, and semi-permanent debuffs and status effects. And there's a huge difference between the two. Now, the temporary ones aren't that bad. Honestly, you can really deal with most of them and not have to really worry about keeping consumables for them and stuff, because they're not that bad. And some of them, like burning, you just roll dodge and it literally gets rid of the debuff. So burning's like a non-starter. It's not even something to worry about. So the temporary ones are bleeding, burning, corroded, overloaded. These are all the temporary ones. These only last a couple seconds at a time. Yeah, they can stack up if you get hit by a bunch, but 9 times out of 10, they're not that concerning unless you get hit with a lot of them all at the same time. And in some scenarios, like if you're actually playing co-op, some of them can be a little bit, annoying too if you're not careful. I would say out of the temporary ones, the one that is somewhat concerning at times could be overloaded. Overloaded is done by shock damage. There's a couple places you can see overloaded. You'll see it in Naruto a lot, and the yellow slimes in Lawsome can also do overload damage. The overload debuff, and I think one of the aberrations can too. Basically, you take a little shock explosion damage every 5 seconds. It's not horrible, unless you're kind of stuck getting hit by a lot of it at once, or if, let's say, you have a bunch of summons with you, and you and your summons all get hit overloaded, and you're on top of each other, yeah, you're all going to be sharing that overload explosion damage, and that is not kosher. You will not enjoy that. Same thing if you're playing with your buddies and you all get overloaded and you're on top of each other. Yeah, that can get dicey real fast. But outside of that, Like I said, the temporary debuffs, they aren't really that, worrisome. And you can see right here, it does list how to get rid of them. But like I said, they're not that bad. The ones you do want to worry about, and the ones I want to emphasize, are what I call the semi-permanent debuffs. Those are Cursed, Root Rot, and Suppressed. Now, if you get hit with these and they stack up, you will be stuck with it until either A, you use a checkpoint, or B, you use the curative item. That's it. You're gonzo. Or in the case with the curse, there's also healing fountains that you can use in Lawsome that will also get rid of that. These are a pain in the ass, and some of them can actually be pretty detrimental. Cursed is super annoying because if you get enough stacks of it, basically what it does is every stack of Cursed reduces your max health by 10%. So like your max health just disappears, And at 5 stacks, that's half your health bar just is permanently gone until you can get rid of that Cursed effect. So it can kind of be a pain in the ass, especially if you're in a boss fight and you're getting smacked with a bunch of Curse stacks. That is no bueno. You're going to find that in Lawsome. The other one that's really bad is Root Rot. You're going to find this in Yesha and I believe Root Earth too. Basically, if you get a stack of Root Rot on you, every couple of seconds, you're going to go into a coughing fit like you've been a smoker all your life, and it's going to interrupt your actions, which can be bad. It doesn't seem that bad just reading the text, but if you're almost dead and you go to use your Dragon Heart, and next thing you know, you're coughing your head off and you can't use your Dragon Heart because you're interrupted and you die, yeah, Root Rot can be a kind of a pain in the ass. Now, I have done some experimenting with it. It does say that it prevents dodging in the wiki. I am not seeing that just yet. As soon as the coughing animation starts, you can roll dodge, and that does seem to interrupt the coughing animation, but it's still a pain in the ass. Because again, that means you're not using a Dragon Heart, that means you're wasting stamina. Get rid of it. Get rid of it as soon as possible. The last one is Suppressed. You're going to see this, I'm pretty sure, only in Narut. And kind of like what the text here says here, basically it doubles your cooldowns for your skills, and it cuts your mod power generation in half. It sucks. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. It's not a fun playing experience when you have Suppressed. So yeah, those are the debuffs. Let's take a look at the items real fast, and then we'll talk about how we get rid of those things. So, honestly, the only 3 items you really need to have on you, especially if you know you're going to be playing in those areas, the Oilskin Balm for Root Rot, the Timeworn Unguent for Suppressed, and the Purified Salve for Curse. Honestly, those are the only 3 curative items I ever really have, and have ever really needed to have on me. Especially if I know for a fact, hey, I'm going to be re-rolling Yesha and doing some runs in there. I'll make sure I have some Oilskin on me. Same thing with Lawsome. Oh, I don't want to get cursed. Might as well take some Purified Salve. And same thing with Narut. Hey, Suppressed sucks. Let's make sure we have some Timeworn. Now, there are a couple other consumables I want to talk about because I think they are really, really helpful to have. The first one, and the one that's absolutely, in my opinion, necessary. This is a non-discussion. As soon as you get a chance, pick up an Orb of Undoing. Basically, what this does is it will reset all your trade points so you can respec, and you can do it whenever you want. It's unlimited uses from what I've seen. I've been able to do it multiple times without any issues whatsoever. You can pick it up at from Wallace. It is a little bit on the pricey side, but yeah, especially once you start stacking up trait points, once you start picking up multiple classes and you want to start, messing around with different builds, definitely pick up a Orb of Undoing, because in my book, it's a necessity. Now, some of the other consumables that are really super helpful are what the game calls concoctions. Concoctions are consumables that will last a minimum of 60 minutes. Now, depending on your build and what class you have, like the Alchemist, that can change. The Alchemist's prime perk allows you to have 2 concoctions. So like if we go up here and kind of like how it says right here, let's turn this off. The Spirited Prime perk allows the Alchemist to have 2 concoction buffs active at the same time, which is actually pretty stupid, because some of these are legit powerful. All the concoctions and stuff like that, all the consumables for the most part, you're going to be able to find on 3 vendors, and this gives us a perfect chance to talk about this too. So, Mudtooth, that's where you're going to find your concoctions. Reggie, that's where you're going to find a lot of your, buff consumables and the grenades and stuff like that. And the good doctor.
Hey there, traveler.
This is where you're going to find your curative items. So, things like the oil skin, things like the purified salve. Reggie, I think Reggie has the Timeworn.
Hey there, friend. Rest assured.
Oh, interesting.
Keep your wits about you.
Something you need, young'un? I can tell you right now. So long as
Weird.
you hey.
Okay, that is strange.
Let me know if you...
The joys of doing unscripted content. I thought for sure she would have it. I wonder
if you need fixing.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if it's because I actually haven't picked up any yet.
Back again, traveler.
I wonder if that might be it, and that's why she doesn't have it. That is weird. Okay. The Timeworn you can pick up as a random drop in the route, and not only that, but the Jazeer Replicator, which is a random crafting bench you can also buy it there. That is super weird. But anyways, concoctions. Let's talk about those real fast.
I can tell you right.
So yeah, kind of like it shows at the bottom of the text, only 1 concoction may be active at a time, but like we just saw, the Alchemist can have 2. So, depending on what you have and what your build is, that time frame can be different. Usually it's only 60 minutes, but as you can see here with the Alchemist, it's 114 minutes. So again, the Alchemist is legit powerful in that scenario. So some of the really helpful ones in here, just for everyday usage, root water. Root water is a nice one to have. I know that 0.75 doesn't seem all that impressive, but it is really nice to have that in between fights. Let's say you take a good little bit of damage. You don't want to waste, a healing ability or a mod or a dragon heart to heal up. The root water will keep you healed up in between fights and stuff like that. And even, during boss fights, sometimes there's been a couple really close calls that all I had left were a couple of, health points, and I'm pretty sure just having that passive regeneration going non-stop from the root water helped. So the root water is a really good one to have. The elixir is also super powerful. Again, once you start picking up multiple classes, let's say you picked up a second class, you want to get it leveled up, the 15% experience gain for, again, baseline is an hour. That's a couple dungeon runs, easy. That 15% is going to add up ridiculously fast. So this is a good one to have, and all these concoctions last through death. So you don't have to worry about dying, using it on a boss, dying and having to repop it. All these buffs last through death. Another good one, depending on your build, would be the taunting. A lot of builds, a lot of items, skill effects, all kinds of different things are based off your max health. So the more max health you have, the more healing you have. Or whatever the interaction is with your max health. So this could be a good one too. Another just general all-purpose one is this guy right here, the Darksider. Basically going to give you buffs kind of across the board. Increased health, increased stamina, increased speed. Can't really go wrong with that. So those are some really good concoction items you might want to have on you to use. Reggie.
Good to see you, friend. Only the bit.
Reggie's got some fun stuff here. Some big ones are these three right here. The pipe bomb, the Brightstone, and the black tar. These are all grenades, and we've actually talked about these in a couple of my videos.
Let's talk again.
Those can have some really interesting, fun, and powerful interactions depending on your build. So, a couple that I want to talk about for sure. Now, we've already talked about the detonation trigger multiple times in my videos and content. Long story short, explosion damage is increased, and explosion damage does burning. Now, it doesn't care where the explosion damage comes from. It's explosion damage across the board, including those grenades. Now, let's take this off. Usually, the tar bomb, as I like to call it, that's the interaction. Now, you will get a slight explosion effect, but it's the burning that we're really looking for. But the problem is you have to do some type of range damage or some type of fire damage to actually kick off that burning stack. Unless we have our good friend, the detonation trigger. Because, since it's a grenade, it's already going to do the fire damage. Now, if you notice, not only does the fire damage automatically proc, but we're getting two, not one, but two instances of fire damage. And that is extremely powerful. Especially when you start adding things in like the Stone of Malevolence that we've talked about, where elemental damage also generates mod power, as we can take a look at right here. So, and as you notice, it's already starting to generate from the burning damage that was on there. But as you can see, just from one bomb, we basically got full stacks and then some. Just from that one bomb and the fire damage that we got from it. So, if you have a build where you're using elemental damage with the Stone of Malevolence to generate mod power, having something like that, the Tar Bomb, is amazing. You're going to be getting all kinds of mod power back. And that goes, again, for all explosion damage. So, like the Brightstone. Normally, the Brightstone does not do any elemental damage. It does a little bit of explosion damage. But the big thing with this is the 10% additional damage debuff that enemies get from getting hit with the Brightstone. But, again, with our Detonation trigger, not only are they going to get the explosion damage and the debuff, but then they have to deal with the fire damage, which will also benefit from the 10% additional damage the enemy is taking, which is an amazing interaction. Same thing with our Pipe Bomb. The Pipe Bomb usually does bleeding damage, and don't forget, guys, with the Timeworn ring, all of my status effects are basically doubled. So if we take this off, usually that would be 30 seconds. But again, that's what makes the the Timekeeper's ring, jewel, so powerful, is it basically doubles all your status effects pretty much. So yeah, 60 seconds of bleeding damage is absolutely massive. But again, it's not just bleeding damage. They're also going to be taking fire damage, which of course, we've talked about this before too. Unfortunately, for some weird reason, the target dummies don't interact and don't showcase bleeding damage. I hope Remnant fixes that soon. But yeah, so in that scenario, you're getting 2 status effects for the price of 1. Which again, if you're using the Timeworn ring, if you're using elemental damage as part of your build, well, there you go. Now you have all kinds of different ways to stack up elemental damage. So, again, I wanted to get a quick video out talking about the different consumables and the different items in the game, because they can have a really, really big impact on your survivability, on your damage, on different build choices and stuff like that. And like I said, people are coming into the game all the time. So anything I can do to help new players, enjoy the game even more and make their entry into Remnant 2 even easier, I'm all for that. So that's about it. Hopefully some of you find this helpful. If you do, I'm going to say the usual YouTube spiel. Likes, comments, subs are absolutely amazing. I don't necessarily do it for those things, but hey, it would definitely help, get the channel out there some more. And that's it. So as always, everybody, I hope everybody's having a absolutely amazing day. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll talk again soon. Take it easy, everybody.